All children should have the opportunity to develop an international perspective to their lives, especially in remoter geographical areas that perhaps culturally are not as diverse as other parts of the UK. I'm absolutely delighted that this India project has got off the ground and is developing so strongly, because it is our first big India partnership. The use of video to capture the response of children and young people is particularly exciting, I think. It's a means of communication that children and young people are familiar with.
I think what is interesting, as the Action TV will give us, is an evaluation. And of course the children themselves will change so much between 13 and 16, and it'll be, I think, very interesting to look back in a year's time, 2 years' time and 3 years' time, and to just really see if their attitudes have changed. Because I know their knowledge base is so low, that I think we cannot do anything wrong here. I think at the very least we're going to achieve with a group of youngsters a greater awareness of global India. We've done some initial work on India and realised our Year 8s knew very little. We took a mixed ability, mixed gender Year 8 group and put them into groups of 5, and 5 groups of 5. And we asked them how they had any perception of India. Clearly they had very little, only from films and books. And through a process we came up with 4 or 5 topics that they wanted to ask questions of. In your groups now, pick a writer and pick a spokesman.
Do they drive a car? You know, you could like ask
a car or a vehicle, or some kind.
So you're going to think of some more things. What have you got so far?
Well, how hot is your summer? How cold is your winter? How cold is your winter?
We're doing family and homes, and we said how big is the average family, and what is your typical Sunday dinner, and do you own any other properties?
Now, if you remember, I said that it's our perception and our image of India that we're checking. Start thinking about 3 answers. I want you to write down in your group what you think the answer might be.
Okay, so we start with this group. Come with one of your questions and one of your answers.
What sports do you play? And the answer was cricket and tennis.
So at the end of that lesson, having agreed the 15 questions, these questions were sent to India, and by use of email, having to change 1 or 2 questions slightly, we gleaned 15 answers which were put on sheets and given to the children at a follow-up lesson.
It's really weird, this lesson. How it's like 35p a litre compared to ours. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be like up in the 70s.
How long is the school day? Our school is residential. We start at 7 AM in the morning and finish around 8:30 at night.
That's quite cheap.
It's quite cheap at the moment.
And they use a bike or the train.
Alright. Yeah. If we lived our lifestyle like that, we would save so much money. We would.
Anyone really surprised by any answer that's come back?
Well, it says here that I worked at the school for about 9 hours.
Yeah.
But it's from 8 AM to 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
But they get a 4-hour break.
Very few people celebrate Christmas, and that in December it's normally 35 degrees and it's really hot.
Is there another question now that you'd like to find the answers to when our Indian visitors come across and see us?
We would like to know how many years they spend at school, whether they have as many as us or more than us or less.
Yeah, whether they start at the same time and stay at school as long. A good question, I think.
So the next stage is really to have a real person into their classroom, do you think?
Yeah. Email is fantastic, but to them it isn't enormously different than going on the website or something. It's got to be a real person in front of them. Hello. Hi, you right?
What's India's favourite sport?
India's favourite sports. India's cricket mad, you know. So it's the favourite sport, I think. But football comes in a close second, yeah.
I really didn't think India had football teams. Well, not so much as England.
Well, they have some football crazy parts in India. If you go to the city of Calcutta, everybody's football crazy out there, you know. And it's much the same as you. And if two teams are playing against one another, there would, you know, in the homes, there would be divisions where the mum supports one side and the dad supports one side. And you have the food of the winning team.
Do you like the weather over there? Because we don't normally like the weather here because it's always raining.
Oh, nobody likes the weather in their own country. I'm enjoying it here. I don't want any sunshine. I get it all back at home. But the fun about India is because it's a big country, you can choose to go where you want. So if you wanted, say, I live in Delhi and I thought, I want to go where it's nice and cold, I could go up the mountains and it would be snowing there and it would be cold. And if I thought that, oh, this is too dry for me, I could go down the coast and it'll be nice and breezy.
When we filmed last time, me and Hannah asked if they had what they had for dinner and if they had like a typical Sunday dinner, and they replied saying that they don't eat a lot of hot stuff and rice wasn't a big thing.
It depends upon, again, which part of India, where you are. That's the big problem with India. There's just no one answer. Where I come from, for example, rice is the main thing, and you can have it for breakfast, lunch and dinner. But if you go up north, where you grow a lot of wheat, they don't eat any rice at all.
Is there like any surfers or anything like that?
There's not much culture of recreational sailing or recreational surfing. But fishermen surf and go out to the sea, so for them it's a job. They go out to sea, they see it as work. The thing, you know, when you look at India, because India's got so many problems as well, so children in India are not really very encouraged to play. Their mums and dads are worried that they need to get out and earn quickly, because you need a job and you need food on the table and you need your shelter. So that's a lot of motivation from homes to do well. During the process, because you've gone through it a while, you've got this video, how has it contributed to the way you were dealing with this subject?
Where you start the traditional lesson of, will one of you write something down, will one of you be the spokesman? It's, oh, you do it, no, I don't want to do it. As soon as you say, will somebody be the person to hold the video and record it, they all want to do it because it's something they feel they can all understand. And it's certainly more inclusive because of that. And I think it's something we need to develop, isn't it?
There's lots of examples today as well in the filming of children that sometimes are quite keen to take a back seat and not take part, are actually finding a way to actually take part in the lesson. You know, it's a very inclusive medium and it allows people that aren't potentially enthused in other ways to actually become enthused.
It's a wonderfully quick and simple record as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And what is also very exciting about this particular project is the way in which the consideration has been given right from the start to evaluating impact.
In the past, I think it's fair to say that we probably started evaluating towards the end, and we've missed. We would have missed that lovely, oh, is it like that then? I didn't realise, you know, and some of the answers you got, I mean, you saw the reactions when you were talking to our youngsters today, and how excited they were by the answer. No, we would have missed that, and that would not have been recorded in a written form. Any big surprises, or anyone changed their minds?
I was quite surprised at how it really depends on where you are in India. Like, England's pretty much the same all over the country, and it's totally different in different parts of India.
Isn't it like really hot all over? Like, it's always sunny. There's never any rain or anything.
I think a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
What was apparent today, and again, in terms of good practice, the way in which children were looking very much at similarities as opposed to differences, and something that's always concerned me in relation to geography or the international dimension work is that we talk about contrasting localities overseas and learn that overseas and contrasting localities overseas means very, very different to what our lives are like, when actually the basic requirements of any young person's life anywhere in the world is the same.
As David rightly said, they've gone from expecting, anticipating, perceiving differences to actually coming into with a similarity. Now, okay, that may still be fairly superficial at the moment, but they've actually, they do enjoy Christmas and they do play football and they do ride horses and their school's a bit like ours and they wear uniform. So you begin to have a base to build a slightly different perception already.
Would you like to make a video over here to send to India? And what would go on those videos?
What I'd put in it is I'd get lots of like good landscapes and the sports we play and what's it like in our schools to send to them.
They'd actually get to see instead of like read about it, because all you can do when you read is imagine, but with a video you actually know what's actually there.
If you made a video like about yourself, like what you do every day, then I think that would like give them like quite a good idea.
They wanted to have contact with someone that they trusted, which is where I really think this idea of the video between the two schools will be so effective.
As well as the fact that being lucky enough to actually been to India as part of the project and bringing back information and being able to go out and actually, me personally, and try and challenge some of the stuff that I understand about India and about our counterparts and trying to bring it back to our children so they've got another source and they can actually be a bit more trustworthy of that source.
Well, Nick might bring back 20 images from India and might very well say to his pupils, well, what do you want to know about this? Come up with 10 questions or whatever. But it's actually quite encouraging them to get into the habit of asking those higher level questions in the sense of who took these pictures and why, and why have you given me these 10 pictures when you took 200? And what do we as teachers, when we go to India, look for?
Yeah.
The challenge that is going out to everybody working on international linking in the education sector is how do you know what you hope is happening? And this is a project which is saying, well, here's one way we can find out.
I want to make sure that you get the camera right in on people's faces. So get right in there.
Not in 8 weeks.
That's it. Rest on the table.
But then they had, again...
Okay, that's good. That's good. Listen, I don't want to see this person's chin bumping the bottom of the frame, okay? That's a bad frame. I want to see the person's head bumping the top of the frame. That's good framing, okay? Just come off the table now and see if you can do a nice fluid move from one person onto another person. Good. Well done, Lewis. Do you think you've learned anything?
The chin not being on the bottom of the frame.
Okay.
And the head just at the top. And also, like when they're not talking, do some listening shots.
Okay, good. Listen, I also want you to go around and tell the other people who might do the filming what you've learned, okay? And your teachers, because a lot of them don't know it either.
Would you expect me to behave differently if I was dressed differently?
Probably.
Maybe a bit.
Yeah.
How would I behave if I were dressed in
I don't know, a bit more like relaxed, sort of.
Do I look stressed out?
No, no.